Well, hey guys, we're traveling down Main Street here in Ackerman, Mississippi today, and we're going to introduce you to a couple more Mississippi governors. You see, I can think of no other Mississippi municipality that is home to two Mississippi governors. Certainly not a place of comparable size to the small town of Ackerman. Ackerman is the home of Mississippi Governor J.P. Coleman and Mississippi Governor and Secretary of the Navy, Ray Mabus. Well, I know when I introduce you to a Mississippi governor, well, typically they have passed away. And true enough, we lost Governor Coleman a few years ago, but Governor Mabus is still alive. And since we're going to start our visit here in Ackerman off at what I call Governor's Park, well, it's a great opportunity to tell you about both. We'll tell you about Governor Mabus here, and we'll move to the cemetery and finish up with Governor Coleman and his grave. Ray Edwin Mabus Jr. was born on October 11th, 1948. He is a Democrat who served as the 75th United States Secretary of the Navy from 2009 to 2017, after he served as the state auditor and the 60th governor of Mississippi. Governor Mabus was also the ambassador to Saudi Arabia in 1994. Governor Mabus was born here in Ackerman and has been married twice and has 3 children. He was a valedictorian when he graduated from Ackerman High School in 1966, then went on to graduate from the University of Mississippi with a Bachelor of Arts in English and Political Science. He earned his Master's of Arts degree from Johns Hopkins before moving on to Harvard Law School. In the early 70s, he served in the Navy aboard the USS Little Rock. Mabus also volunteered for William Winter's unsuccessful gubernatorial bid in 1967. But after Winter was elected in 1979, Mabus returned to Mississippi to work as the governor's legal counsel in 1980. Winter and his staff pushed through a legislative overhaul of the state's public educational system. Governor Mabus was one of the governor's aides who delivered lectures and such across the state to build popular support for the reform bill. Because of this, Mabus was known as one of the Boys of Spring, a title which was supposed to be an insult, but one which I'm sure he took pride in. Around this time, Mabus decided that the state auditor's office could be one of the most powerful offices in the state. So he ran for state auditor in 1983. Mabus won the election as state auditor, and in January of 1984, he found the office was hundreds of years behind in audits. Mabus brought the state auditor's office organization and made it a real auditor's office, and while doing so appealed to the state legislature to switch counties from the beat system of government to the unit system. Mabus won the Democratic primary runoff with 65% of the vote, the largest ever margin of victory in the state's history. In the 1987 general election, he faced Tupelo businessman Jack Reed. He was inaugurated as the 60th governor in January of 1988, and at 39 years old, he was the youngest governor in the country. Governor Mabus instituted strong state fiscal reform and worked on some other budgetary issues, championed legislation that required counties to switch from the beat system to the unit system and hire a county administrator to handle financial purchases. Mabus championed public education, the legislature actually passing most of his proposals but failed to fund them. He did manage to give teachers the largest pay raise in the nation at the time. Due to the gubernatorial secession amendment, which was ratified in 1986, Mabus became the first Mississippi governor to run for re-election in the 20th century. He won the Democratic nomination but was defeated by Kirk Fordyce in the general election. Fordyce said that Mabus tried but had not accomplished much. After his time as governor, he was appointed by President Bill Clinton to serve as the United States ambassador to Saudi Arabia. And then in March of 2009, he was appointed as Secretary of the Navy by President Barack Obama. Mabus was one of only a few national security officials to serve for the entire Obama presidency. Governor Mabus made guest appearances on TV's NCIS in 2009 and again in 2014. He also appeared in the movie Battleship as the commanding officer of the USS Ronald Reagan. And he also appeared in the TV series The Last Ship. Ray Mabus's parents must be super proud of him. As we pay our respects to Governor Mabus's parents, let me introduce you to Mississippi Governor J.P. Coleman. Governor Coleman was born on January 9th, 1914, right here in Ackerman, Mississippi. He graduated from University of Mississippi and then went on to finish law school at George Washington University in 1939. Governor Coleman had a private law practice here in Ackerman from 39 to 46. He was a circuit court judge from 47 to 50 when he became a justice on the Mississippi Supreme Court. He served the state of Mississippi as Attorney General from 1950 to 56, and then he became the 52nd governor of the great state of Mississippi in 1956. In 1960, he was elected to the Mississippi House of Representatives. Coleman was elected governor in 1956 as a moderate candidate. He became friends with Senator John Kennedy, but he helped set up the Mississippi Sovereignty Commission. When a guy named Clinton Washington King Jr. attempted to integrate the University of Mississippi, Coleman did what he could do to prevent that from happening, upholding his campaign promise of segregation of all schools. Coleman decided to run for governor again in 1963, but lost the Democratic nomination to Paul Johnson Jr. Johnson painted Coleman as a radical moderate and a friend of the Kennedy administration. The Johnson staff charged that during the 1960 presidential election, Coleman had allowed Kennedy to sleep in the governor's mansion in the bed formerly used by the late governor and the United States Senator Theodore Bilbo. That sure seems silly to me, but it must have worked because Johnson went on to win the governor's race. Coleman did decline a couple posts offered by President Kennedy, such as the U.S. Secretary of the Army or the United States Ambassador to Australia. He was nominated by President Lyndon B. Johnson in June of 1965 to a seat on the United States Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit. He served as chief judge from 1979 to 81, and he retired in 1984. After his retirement from the federal bench, he returned to private practice here in Choctaw County. He suffered a stroke in December of 1990 and died right here in Ackerman on September the 28th, 1991. I believe that examination of the lives of the men that have served Mississippi as governor can teach you a whole lot about the history of our state, which is one of the reasons my kids and I started doing this Mississippi Governor series a few years ago. Governor Coleman was elected governor when another Mississippian, a guy named Elvis Presley, became a thing. He was elected governor basically on a platform of upholding segregation. Back in those days, a Mississippi governor could not succeed himself. A governor could not serve 2 terms in a row. So Governor Coleman skipped a turn and ran again in 1963. He was defeated in his bid to win that second term as Mississippi's governor, it seems to me, because his opponent charged him with not being racist enough. Well, I hope you guys have learned a thing or two today about 2 of Mississippi's governors from right here in Ackerman, Mississippi, Governor Ray Mabus and Governor J.P. Coleman. Thank you.